Chairman. Council, are we ready to resume our proceedings?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, all. Yes, we are ready to proceed. Thank you. Yes. Could you kindly bring in the witness, please?
I, Ensa Mendy,
I, Ensa Mendy,
do swear that
do swear that
I'll speak the truth,
I will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
and
nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Kindly take a seat, please. Good afternoon, Mr. Mendy.
Afternoon, sir.
My name is Esa Fall. We have already met on several occasions.
Yes.
I would be leading you this afternoon as you give your testimony to the Commission.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Should in case you do not understand a question that I ask, please ask for clarification.
Yes,
you have just taken the oath. I just wish to remind you that it is a criminal offense to lie on the oath. It's also a criminal offense under the TRRC Act for a witness to lie before the Commission. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I am not suggesting that you are going to lie, but this is a warning that we would give to most witnesses who would testify to rights violations in which they have been somewhat involved, either directly or indirectly. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to give your testimony?
Yes, sir.
Please, perhaps you may draw the microphone a little bit closer to you and speak up so that we can hear you clearly.
All right, sir.
Thank you. What are your full names?
My name is Ensa Mendy.
It is Ensa with an N, correct? Ensa, E-N-S-A, Ensa Mendy, correct?
Yes, sir.
What is your date of birth?
It's 21st December 1969.
Where were you born?
Brikama, sir.
Where did you attend primary schooling?
Brikama Primary School.
Ensa, kindly allow for 3 seconds between our speeches.
Okay.
So that we won't overlap. All right? Do you recall when you completed primary school?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
1984.
And what did you do after primary school?
I went to Brikama Secondary Technical School.
When did you complete Birkama Secondary Technical School?
1988.
What did you do after completing secondary school in 1988?
In 1988, I went for in-service teachers course with the Roman Catholic Church.
And what did you do after that?
And I was employed as an unqualified teacher for 2 years.
And what did you do in 1990 after completing that exercise, that teaching job?
After that, I went to Army selection.
Which army was that?
Gambia National Army.
And were you in fact selected?
Yes, I was selected.
I noticed that you had previously drawn your mic closer to you, but for some technical reason it was pushed a little bit further away from you.
Yes, sir.
But I also noticed that you are leaning in, so that would be a bit tedious. So relax and just give your testimony. If for some reason we could not hear you, we would make adjustments, all right?
All right, sir.
Thank you very much. So you were selected in 1990 to join the Gambia National Army.
Yes, sir.
Where did you do your training, sir?
At Farafenye Military Barracks.
Do you recall when you finished your training?
We started training on the 7th May 1990 for a period of 6 months.
So you finished your training in December 1990 or November 1990, correct?
Yes, sir.
And where did you go after you finished your training?
After finishing training, they deployed us to Yindom Barracks.
And in which company were you deployed to in Yundum Barracks?
Delta Company.
And who was your company commander?
The company commander was Major Bapar Jata.
In 1994, say August 1994, where were you deployed?
I was deployed to the Ministry of Local Governments and Lands as the orderly to Minister Yankuba Ture.
I missed something that you said. As orderly to who?
Yankuba Ture.
What was Yankuba Ture at this time?
He was the Minister for Local Government and Lands.
Was he part of the army or not at this time?
Yes, sir.
And what was his rank?
He was a lieutenant.
He was a minister for local government. In whose government was that?
AFPRC government.
Thank you very much for that. Sometimes answers to questions we ask are so obvious, but you are the witness testifying, so we just have to ask them. Thank you very much for understanding. So in 1994, August, you were an orderly for Mr. Yankuba Ture. That's what you said. How did you come to become his orderly?
I could recall back. In August, we are on a parade. We are on a parade in the parade ground, and a call came from Army headquarters requesting for me to go to answer to the CO. The CO was Lieutenant Barrow. So Lieutenant C was addressing us on parade, and then he suddenly stopped because somebody came there, talked to him. Then he suddenly stopped and called me, said, "Mendy, come out." Then I came out. He told me that follow me. Then I followed him. So went to the CO's office, who is Lieutenant Barrow. So there I met...
Which Lieutenant Barrow is that? Do you know his first name?
Basiru Barrow. So there I met Captain Baji. I met Major Jata.
Which Captain Baji was this?
Sankare.
Sankare Baji.
Yes, sir.
What position does he hold at the moment, if you know?
At the moment, he is the military advisor.
To who?
To the president.
You also met Major Jata.
Yes, sir.
And who was this Major Jata, or who is this Major Jata?
He was a former Army Chief of Staff.
What's his first name?
I can't remember that.
Would the name Babukar Jata ring a bell?
I'm sure, yeah. Babukar, yeah.
But he became Army Commander, or was Army Commander at the time?
He was Army Commander.
Good. So what did they say to you?
They told me sit down. I sat down, and Lieutenant Basiru Baro told me, "We are the one who called you." I said, "Oh, yes, sir." He told me, "Well, we know you very well. You are hardworking, decent, and disciplined. So we would like to take you to Yankuba Ture as his orderly. So the advice we are going to give you is that when you go there, you maintain the same discipline there." And I said, "Yes, sir." So from there, I and Bakwar Jata and Captain Baji boarded a vehicle. We went to the Army headquarters, where they issued me with 3 pairs of uniform, with the berets and boots. So Babukar Jata stopped there. Then Captain Baji took me to Yankuba Ture's office at the Ministry of Local Government and Lands.
And that is how you started being Yankuba Ture's orderly?
Yeah, he handed me there. And then I met one, there were 2 orderlies there. So they took Noah Sanyang. He was a military police officer. Then they returned him back to the military police, and then I replaced him there.
Were you the only orderly for Mr. Ture?
No, sir.
Who was the other orderly or orderlies?
I met Jali Musa So. He is the senior orderly there.
He was the only one?
Yes.
So how many orderlies did Mr. Ture have when you served him?
Only 2 at a time.
That makes yourself and Jali Musa So?
Yes, we work in shift.
So what did your work as an orderly entail?
As an orderly, his security is our priority, is #1 concern. We take care of his military kits. That is the uniform, the shoes, and so. And also in the office, we are the one who is in charge of taking in and out the files that are supposed to go to him. When he signs it, then we take it to the secretary.
Would you accompany him to functions or places he went to?
Sometimes.
What do you mean by sometimes?
Sometimes we go with him, sometimes he goes alone.
Is that normal protocol that he would go alone?
Well, it is not normal, but we cannot take any decision above him.
Do you recall 10th of November 1994?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us how you spent your day on that, the 10th of November 1994?
On the 10th of November 1994, early hours in the morning when we went to office, there was a rumors that there is a military coup plan within the office. I was the only military officer in that department, so I heard the rumors. And we were just there discussing about it with the other civilians there. Then we are there till in the afternoon, around 4 to 3. Yankuba Ture rang the bell, called me, told me, let's go to the State House. So I went, I picked up his baggage, the bags. Then we went to the State House. And when we went to the State House, I stayed with the security where they used to stay. I stayed there, and then Yankuba climbed up to the president's office, the chairman's office. So then I was discussing with some of the soldiers I met there. They told me, well, there's rumors that the coup plan is going on. But Edward Singate and Sadibu Haidara and Sandra Sabal, they went to Union Barracks to talk to the men.
And during that period, do you know, you said Yankuba Ture went upstairs. Do you know who he went to?
I went to meet the chairman.
As far as you know, how long did he stay with the chairman?
They stayed there for a long time because it was dark.
So when he came out the chairman's office, it was dark.
Yes, sir.
So it was already in the evening when he came out the chairman's office.
Yes, sir.
So, and you went there after 4 o'clock or thereabout?
It's immediately after working hours.
So would that be 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock?
It's between after 4 to 5.
Good. And the time you left there, was it already dusk? It's already dark?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that would be around 7:38.
7 towards 8.
Good. So where did you go after that?
We went home straight.
Did anything else happen later that day, that evening?
Yes, sir. When we reached home. Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what happened and develop it chronologically?
Yes. When we reached home, we took our lunch. Then from there, Yankuba Ture called me, said, Mendy, can you please tell the guard commander to give me some men? The then guard commander was Corporal Mbo. So I went there. I told him what Yankuba said. Then he gave me one of the soldiers, that is Wasakamara. He was a private soldier by then, but now, after he was a captain. So, but he was sick. So when I told Wasakamara to wake up and go, I told him, but I'm sick, I'm so shivering. Then I went back, told Yankuba Ture, well, the guard commander gave me a soldier whom you know that he is not feeling well. Then that was the time he told me, go back and tell him to come and join me.
Who told you that?
Yankuba, the guard commander himself, with some men to join
Let's
us.
not confuse who's who. Who told you to go and tell him to come?
Yankuba Ture told me to go back and tell the guard commander himself to join us.
And that guard commander was Corporal Mbo.
Mbo.
You say. And what happened after that?
They joined us. Then we boarded a vehicle to State House.
How many of you?
The number I can remember, there are 3 plus me, 4, and Yankuba Ture 5.
We know Yankuba Ture, we know yourself, we know Mbo. Who are the other 2?
I cannot remember them.
Did the driver count among the 5?
No.
So it was 5 of you plus the driver to make 6.
Yes, sir.
Who was the driver at this time?
The driver was, I think, is Lamin Ndur.
So you don't recall who the other 2 soldiers were?
Yes, sir.
So tell us, what time did you leave Yankuba's house to go to State House?
I think it's around 9, towards 9 of what?
In the evening, of course.
Yes, sir.
So tell us what happened when you arrived at State House.
When we arrived at State House, we met some soldiers on parade. And Yankuba Ture went up to the chairman's office.
How many soldiers did you find there? who were on the parade?
Quite a number of them.
Could you give us an estimate?
A sort of a platoon.
Which would be about 14, 15?
28, 30, and so.
That would be
Platoon.
a platoon.
Yes, sir.
28, 30.
30, so, yeah.
Yes. Okay. That includes yourself, right?
Then where that Almamo told us to go and join them. So we
Which Almamo are you referring to?
Almamo Mane.
What was his rank at the time?
Well, I think he was a staff sergeant.
So he asked you to join the parade?
Yes.
And what did Yankuba Ture do?
Yankuba went up to the chairman.
To the chairman's office. Good. So tell us what happened at that parade.
At that parade, Almamo went and opened, there was a container there. Then he opened the container, then started issuing us with weapons.
What type of weapons were these?
As we normally call it as RPG, rocket prepare grenade. Yeah.
Were these used arms or what?
It's a new one, bright new one.
Brand new arms?
Made in 1994, yes.
Made in 1994. How did you know that?
It's there.
You checked it?
The label is
You
there.
inspected it?
Yes, sir.
That's right. So you are issued with brand new arms,
yes.
rocket-propelled grenades, 1994
Plus
edition.
Grenade belts. Some are issued with grenade belts.
Grenade belts. Were these the first? Had you seen these arms before?
Well, I haven't seen such. The ones I've shown in Liberia is different from this one. This one is one of the smallest caliber, but I don't see this type of deformation.
You've never seen them before?
Never.
That would be the first time they were used?
Yes, sir.
Taken out of a container from State House?
Yes, sir.
Issued to you by Almamo Mane?
Yes, sir.
Member of which unit at the time?
He was in the State Guard.
State Guards. But these weapons were not available in the camp?
Never.
So, all of you, were all of you given weapons, new weapons?
Because when we were lining up, he was just throwing it to us. So I presume that all of us had.
What happened to the weapons that you came with?
For me, I was issued a pistol. So the pistol I was using.
So you kept the pistol?
Yeah, by my side, the pistol is with me.
And you also had an RPG?
Yes, sir.
With grenades?
Yeah.
How many grenades did you have?
I cannot count for the belt. I don't count for the belt.
These were the two weapons you had?
Yes, sir.
But this AK-47, does it have, was it just RPG or was it a cross?
It's AK at the same time at the bottom. That's where you can put your grenade there.
So this was a dual use, multi-purpose weapon.
Yes, sir.
So it was a regular AK-47,
yes, sir.
But it also had an RPG facility mounted on it.
It's a new modification, yes, sir.
Yes. So this was the first time you saw this weapon?
Yes, sir.
What happened to those of you who also came with AK-47s? They now would have two big rifles. What did they do with those rifles?
I cannot tell what did they use, where they kept it. I cannot tell.
Okay. So when you were issued with these weapons, what happened next?
During the process of issuing us with these weapons, I was trying to question, but Almamo told us to shut up and keep quiet. Yes.
What were you questioning?
The reason for issuing us with these new weapons. So after issuing the weapon, then that's the time he started briefing us.
What did he say?
He told us that there is a military coup plan that is about to take place, that night. And he said, according to their intelligence work, these people are supposed to meet at the Yundum barracks at 2 o'clock. So what we need is we should go there before them and counter them. Yes, sir.
At around what time was this?
I could say it's around 11.
The council members, did you see them again after that briefing?
After the briefing, we were there. Then they came down. Then we boarded the vehicles.
Did the council members say anything to you as far as you can recall?
No, sir.
Did you personally see Yaya Jammeh that evening?
That night, no, sir.
You did not see him?
No, sir.
We have received testimony.
Yes, sir.
That Yaya Jammeh wanted to go, and he told the council members in the presence of the men that he wanted to go. And Sana Sabali told him that, no, if you trust us, you stay behind. We would go and we would succeed. And Yaya Jammeh said, Bilai walai talai, if I go, some families would weep tonight. Did you witness that?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. So you all, about 30 men, plus the council members, you boarded the vehicles and departed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us whether there were other senior members of the army who were not also members of the council?
Well, when we reached at Banyonde, we stopped there. So we met some people there, some soldiers there. So I think Captain Singate Junior, I think he joined us.
Do you know his name, his first name?
Peter Singate.
You saw him there?
I saw him there. That's where I saw him, but I don't know actual place where he joined us, whether he's there or.
At Banjulunding, did you have any discussion?
The place I mean, Banjul, is between Tabokoto and that's back way leading to the training school. There is a nursery school on the left side, and then that's where we stopped there. They were discussing, yeah.
And tell us what was discussed or what was said.
No, I didn't go towards them because they are only the officers whom they were standing there discussing.
Who were these officers?
Council members.
Could you name them, please?
Edward Singate, Yankubo Ture, Sadibu Hydra, and Sana Sabali, and Peter.
Did they brief you about what to do or what was to happen?
Never. Only the briefing that we have was with Almama Mane.
So what happened after that?
We departed towards Yundum Barracks through police training school. So on the way, we met one soldier. He was running.
He was?
He was running, coming towards us. So he was stopped. They were questioning him. What is going on in the barracks there? Sabali was questioning him. Yes. So, but I didn't hear what they were discussing with the team. Because the moment we stood, we have to take covers to protect that environment. So after that, then we went.
What happened to this soldier?
At that place, I don't know what happened to him.
So you proceeded to where?
Yundum Barracks.
Tell us what happened and give us the details. This is important.
Yes, sir. As we approach Yundum Barracks through the back gate where the civilian military's wives stay, at the back way, we entered through that. We went straight to the camp. We occupied all the guard posts. Soldiers vacated their place. They ran away, left their weapons their dinner. I think they were taking dinner, in fact, food, because I saw many foods there, these plates and so on. So we don't meet any resistance there.
Was there any shooting at all?
At that period, there was no shooting.
Subsequently?
And after, there was shooting around the gate. So I couldn't tell because it was dark. So, but inside the barracks, there was no shooting.
So you went in, you occupied the barracks.
Yes, sir.
Which part of the barracks were you?
When we occupied the barracks, the council members, they went aside, sit at where just some distance away from the guard room. That place is dark, they take cover. And then the other soldiers were in the guard room, occupying the guard room with Malafi Corps.
Who was Malafi Corps?
He was in the military police, and then from there he was in the state guard.
At that time he was working as a state guard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know his rank at the time?
The rank I remember was a corporal.
How about, you said the orderlies, the council members were around the guard room. How about their orderlies?
What I mean is the council members, they went a distance away from the guard room.
Yes. And
that is a dark place. We are with them.
You were with them,
yes,
tagging
sir.
behind?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what they discussed?
No, I don't. Because we always give them a distance a bit.
You did not hear anything they said?
No, sir.
What happened afterwards?
So we were there till around 1 o'clock. And then we had a vehicle coming. So the vehicle came, it's a Land Rover. Then the soldier dropped out. I had Malafi Corps saying, Ahua. And then the one who boarded the vehicle said, Ahua. Then I recognized the voice. That is the voice of Lieutenant Basiru Baro.
What does Ahua mean in plain English?
It's a military terms. That means that they are ready for any action. So when Malafi Corps said Ahua, then Lieutenant Baro said, Ahua, let's go and fuck those bastards. That was the word that Baro has uttered.
What happened after that?
And from there, Malafi Corps and the other team, they just captured him. When they caught him, he said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. That was the time they stripped him, take the jujus out from him, and then the council members woke up, and Yankuboture rushed upon him, but he couldn't make it, he fell down. He too fainted. So we were trying to remove the jujus from Yankuboture. They say it's the juju that he fell down.
What was he rushing to do?
That was the time they captured Baro.
No, let's try to, we want to understand why Yankuba Ture was rushing at Baro. You said Baro was captured, he was stripped, his jujus removed, and Yankuba Ture rushed at him.
Yes, sir.
So what was he rushing to do?
Well, I couldn't tell.
Can you show us by demonstration how Yankuba rushed at him? Let's imagine that this pillar in the middle is where Baro was standing, and he was, of course, restrained. How did Yankuba Ture rush at him? Don't scare us, just show us by demonstration.
You know, we were a distance away from them. So when the news that Baro was captured, he was just rushing like this, coming there. And from here, he took a
Go back to the microphone, please. Kindly repeat what you said in the microphone so that it will be recorded. So
Yes, what I said is that when Barrow was captured, they were removing jujus from him. Then Yankuba Ture rushed upon him, but he couldn't make it.
Was he attacking Barrow or was he not attacking Barrow?
Well, because Barrow was, soldiers were just around him, so Yankuba Ture was coming. So I don't know his intention.
Did it appear to you that he was attacking Barrow?
That seems that he was trying to attack.
He fell down.
He fell down.
And it was suggested that it was because of the jujus.
The jujus, so we were trying to remove it again from him.
Did he come to? Did he recover?
Yes, after Sarah Sabali ordered Barrow to, Malafiko to take Barrow to the cells.
Did anything happen to Barrow that time?
I'm not aware of that at that time.
Mr. Witness, you are under oath.
Yes, sir.
Speak the truth. The evidence we have,
yes, sir,
is that Barrow was beaten there and he was beaten seriously.
What I saw was the time they were stripping him.
What happened when they were stripping him?
That stripping, they were scrambling at him, removing all things. So it could be in that process they can beat him.
I don't understand.
I said through that process, maybe he is beaten.
You said maybe he was beaten.
Because what they told me that they were taking jujus from him. I saw them removing, said that take jujus from him. So after they ordered them to take him to the...
No. Don't rush the evidence. They take it step by step. To put it in local parlance, buguñ ko sacha fembi. Just tell exactly how it happened, step by step. You understand?
Sir, yes, sir.
Was he beaten or was he not beaten?
That's what I'm saying. He could be beaten there during the process of taking the jujus. If he, maybe he's trying to resist.
There are maybes, a lot of maybes, 3 maybes you have used. We want to know what is the truth, what happened.
It is not clear to me whether he is beaten.
Mr. Witness, you were standing there. You were with the council members.
The time we approached him, that was the time Yankuba was rushing to him, and we followed him.
The evidence is that Mr. Barrow was so mercilessly beaten. He sustained so much injuries.
Yes.
He could barely walk by himself. Or you could not see that he was beaten.
So, because that time, the council members said that there should be no noise because these people started coming. So Barrow was taken to the cells. And from, I don't know whether after that he was beaten in the cells or it can be possible that he was beaten in the cells.
The testimony, the evidence is he was beaten when he was captured.
What I mean is, during the process of taking the jujus from him, they were scrambling at him.
What do you mean by they were scrambling at him? That's what we need to understand. What does that entail?
What I mean, there was a group of many soldiers attacked him there at that moment.
Was he hit?
Yeah, possibly he was hit.
You are still in the realm of possibilities. Let's come to the realm of reality. Was he hit?
Yes, sir, he said.
Was he butt struck?
With a rifle?
Yes.
Well, you see, it is dark, so anyone can use any weapon to do it.
Is this a situation where you don't want to testify
So I want to
about a blatant violation of the person's rights? Is that the case? You don't want to see no evil. Is that it?
No, sir. That is not the case. He can be, if at all I happen to to see him physically like this, when he is beaten, he is butt-struck, I will know.
But you have just accepted that he was hit.
Yes, sir.
Was he butt-struck?
That's why I didn't see that with my eye.
Was he kicked?
Yes, sir.
Essentially, he was beaten.
To frame it, he was beaten.
Why didn't you accept in the first instance that he was beaten?
Because, you know, the people were scrambling upon him. So what I saw was they were removing...
Is that the reason why you did not say in the first place that he was beaten?
Yes, sir.
I take it you did not want to answer the question in the first instance.
Not that, sir.
I'll move on. I'll leave it at that. We accept he was beaten.
Yes, sir.
How badly? All other witnesses said he was beaten mercilessly. In your case, what do you say?
After that process, I did not see him facially.
No, we are talking about this same process.
Yeah.
Let's not go to the other processes. This particular instance, what happened? Was he mercilessly beaten or not? It's not written on the ceiling.
I am thinking, so my mind has gone back to the real day. It's what I'm focusing on, so that I can recall my mind, then be able to answer your question.
Tell us.
Sir.
You've been interviewed several times.
Yes, sir.
And during all this period, you've been casting your mind to what has happened.
Yes, sir.
Tell us the truth. Remember, it's only the truth that shall set you free.
Yes, sir.
Was he beaten mercilessly?
He is beaten.
I want the qualification. Was he beaten mercilessly or not?
Yes, sir. He was beaten mercilessly.
Good. Now, after he was beaten mercilessly, he was taken to the cells. That's what you say?
Yes, sir.
And what happened after that?
After that, we stayed there for some hours. And Sanad told our senior NCOs to leave Yindom Barracks and then proceed to Fajara Barracks.
Let's not get to Fajara Barracks yet.
Yes, sir.
From your testimony so far, one person was arrested. We want to know what happened at Yindom Barracks.
One person was arrested.
Lieutenant Basiru Baro.
Yes, sir.
That's what you testified to.
Yes, sir.
Who else? What happened to the others?
The others, he was the one who was arrested. And LF Jame, I think LF Jame and Sir Jackal, and I forgot the other team. That's where I said there was firing at the gate. That was the time they tried to enter the barracks, and they're trying to escape. They fired them.
Apart from Baro, was anybody else arrested at Yindom Barracks that time?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
Not far.
Why didn't you tell us that before?
Yeah, yesterday I went home. I think about it. I think all the procedure, and then I came to realize that it was...
We're saying just 2 minutes ago, I asked you after Baro, what else happened? You said you went to Fajara Barracks.
Yeah,
Why didn't you tell us?
Skip it.
No skipping anymore.
All right, sir.
Let's just follow the chronology and bring out the evidence. And what happened to Dotfal? Tell us.
Dotfal was arrested just before reaching the fourth sentry post, the last sentry post to the barracks.
And tell us what happened.
They were beating him. He was beaten.
Who beat him?
The soldiers whom you know, they are positioned that place, that area, that night.
The evidence we have is that the soldiers who were positioned wouldn't be leaving their positions, would they?
Yes, sir. At the site of the guard post there.
So the soldiers who could move are those who could move with the council members, isn't it?
Those people, they are the first entrance.
No. Those who were posted at particular positions, you just agreed that they wouldn't leave their positions, correct?
What I say is that they can leave their position if there is a threat.
But Dotfal came in.
He didn't enter.
Okay. He didn't enter, he was apprehended.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So by the fact that he was apprehended, the threat was neutralized, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
So there was no longer any threat coming from Dotfal, correct?
When they apprehended him?
Yes.
No more.
Therefore, by your answer, it wasn't necessary anymore for those who were stationed to be moving, correct? They would stay in their position.
They are the one who apprehended him.
Yes, but they would remain in their positions, and Dotfal was carried away by other soldiers, correct?
No, they are the one who were beating him, and they brought him.
The evidence we have is that it was, in fact, the orderlies who did the beating.
No, for me, I have never.
No, I'm not talking about you for the moment.
Correct.
Let's talk about the other orderlies. The other orderlies did the beating.
Yes, sir.
You were an orderly.
Yes, sir.
Did you participate in the beating?
Never.
So you were the sole orderly who stood aside and did not participate in the beating.
We are in the after we are in different areas. I don't touch anybody there that day.
But of course, you would say that, wouldn't you?
Collectively, they will say orderlies. So I will not be
But
exempted
you want
from,
to exclude yourself.
That's why I say I will not be exempted from that. If orderlies, they will mention orderlies.
I want to get it clear.
Yes, sir.
Would you be exempted or would you not be exempted?
It's collectively.
So you are equally responsible, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you accept that responsibility,
Yes, sir, it's
that
uniform.
it is you, the orderlies, who collectively beat Dotfal.
Yes, sir. It's uniform.
Was he also beaten mercilessly?
He was beaten.
Mercilessly or not?
It's mercilessly.
And what happened to him after that?
After that, I can't remember what happened to him.
Was he also put in the cell or not?
The only person I know he was put in the cell is Lieutenant Bashiru Barrow.
But you couldn't tell after the beating of Dotfal what happened to him?
Yes, sir.
After that, you told us Sana ordered that you move to where?
Fajara Barracks.
And how did you go to Fajara Barracks?
During that process, he left this man there, Maleficor, in charge of the camp, Indom Barracks, with some men. Then we left to Fajara Barracks.
How about the council members? Did they all go to Fajara Barracks or not?
All of them, we went with all of them.
So tell us who led the way to Fajara Barracks?
Sana Sabali is the senior council member. He is the one who led the way.
And you all went with him, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us what happened when you arrived at Fajara Barracks.
When we arrived at Fajara Barracks at the back gate, then we started receiving shots. They were firing at us. And then we fired back. Then we enter the barracks. Some of the soldiers were throwing their weapons, removing uniforms. During that process, we had some of these young soldiers, these private soldiers and so on. We told them to come on board and join us at the back, some of the soldiers. Then they accepted, they joined us. But for the senior officers or senior NCOs, we don't do that.
What would you do?
Some of them were arrested.
And then what happened after that?
After that, for a couple of some hours, Sana paraded some of the captured soldiers at the football field. Then he ordered us to shoot at them.
And what happened?
We responded, shoot.
All of you shot at the at the captured soldiers?
Yes, sir.
And what was the consequence of that shooting?
What I observed was 2 soldiers has fallen down.
And what happened to the rest?
The rest, we are running the except.
After that shooting, what happened?
After the shooting,
perhaps let me take you a step backwards.
okay, sir.
You said all of you responded to Sana's command and you fired at the captured soldiers,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. By all of you, you mean everybody that was present respected the order and fired?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. At this time, where was Yankuba Ture?
Yankuba Ture was there.
He was in the line amongst
All of
the
them
soldiers?
were in the line firing.
All of them were firing?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. And yourself, you were also firing?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. And 2 soldiers fell.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall who these 2 soldiers were?
No, sir, because I don't go towards them there.
And what happened to those 2 soldiers?
I did not know.
Were they left behind or were they taken away?
Well, we left. They were lying there, so maybe after they were taken away.
So you don't know whether they were taken away or not?
No, sir.
From there, what happened next?
From there, we went back to Yundum Barracks. When we arrived at Yundum Barracks, we stood in front of the guard room there. This man was brought in, Sergeant Fafa Nyang was brought in by Corporal Kanyi and Boob.
Which Corporal Kanyi are you referring to?
I think we call him Alaji Kanyi.
And who else?
Babkar Boob.
What was Babukar Mboob's rank?
He was, if I may call, he was a lance corporal.
And they brought out Fafanyang. And
Yes,
can
sir.
can you show us how Fafanyang was being brought out, the way he was treated? Can you show us? We want to appreciate, we want to have a good understanding how Fafanyang was handled when he was being taken out.
Can I get up?
By all means.
Okay, sir. We predict that this is the guard.
Microphone, yes. Speak through the
We
microphone.
predict that this was the guard room here. Then there is rooms, houses around there. So we were standing here. He was dragged. Both of them, one handle here, one handle there. They were pulling him. Then he was saying, Bilai walai talai, I am not a monk. That was the word that he was saying. But Sana Sabali ordered them, go and shoot him. So they drag him up to the anteroom area towards the guard room. Then they fire.
Sit down now. As far as you know, as far as you can recall,
Yes,
who fired?
The person who fired, I cannot tell. that moment, because we were the main guard room. He was dragged going towards the ante-room to the cookhouse. Then automatic fire.
Was he shot only once through that automatic fire, or was he fired at afterwards?
He was shot. That time, it was only one. Prrr.
And then what happened?
They said he was killed, and we know the order that Sana Sabel has given has been executed.
As far as you know, did somebody else, apart from that one burst of rounds on him, did somebody else fire at Fafanyang?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about it.
After that, we went, all of us rushed to that area. What I observed was the rounds went by the stomach like this. Yes. So the intestine was out. While he was struggling, this man, Koli fired.
You saw that happening.
Yes, sir.
Can you demonstrate to us what you saw Koli did?
When we reached there,
Yes.
found that he was struggling there. Intestine was out. Then Koli just emerged from where, I don't know where, at their medical area, just emerged and found he was struggling like this, and he shot.
Let's take a seat, please. Let's take it step by step. Did you see him take out his gun, Koli?
He shot him.
Did you see him aim or point his gun at the victim, Fafanyang?
What I could say is that he shot him on the head, aimed and shot him on the head.
He aimed and shot him
On the head.
on the head. What would you say if I were to propose to you that that shooting was accidental?
Well, a well-trained military officer telling people that that is an accidental is not true. Because each rifle has a safety catch, and how can that be an accident and then hit the head?
The proposition that that was an accident is a fallacy, isn't it?
I think, yes, sir.
As far as you know, a person present at the scene, did Koli deliberately shoot at Fafanyang?
He shot at him.
Deliberately?
Sir.
That's your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on. After Fafanyang was shot, what happened next?
After when Fafanya was shot, they said Dotfal, the truck where Dotfal body was in the truck.
Was it only Dotfal's body that was in the truck?
They were saying that the Dotfal body was in the truck, because I don't go in to check whose body was there, but they were saying Dotfal.
After that, what happened?
After that, Shana ordered them to go and bury them.
Were you present when the burial took place?
I was there observing, yeah.
Who did the burial?
At that moment, I cannot tell you the people who did the burial.
The evidence we received is that it was the orderlies who did the burial.
But I didn't do it because I was there.
Did the orderlies participate in the burial?
That one I couldn't remember. To be frank with you, I can't remember.
Is that just convenient?
Yes, sir. I cannot remember who did that burial because even the burial was not finished there, we left. We left before the completion of the burial.
The evidence is that Sana Sabali identified the location for the burial, and it was you, the orderlies, who actually carried out the burial.
I personally, I don't do any burial, never.
Do you know whether any orderly participated in the burial? I won't ask you for names for now.
I know that people participated in the burial, but
Which
to remember that the orderlies, that one is, I can't remember. I can't remember because what the problem was, the man who was killed is my immediate boss.
Who?
Fafa Nyang.
Tell us about your relationship.
Yes, he is my section commander in the training school in Farafenni. And I was doing everything for him, writing, copying, and so on. And he chose me to be one of the best recruits during our training. So he was my immediate boss. So when he was killed, I felt it. I felt it.
Is that a reason why you did not participate in the burial?
Never. I even cried that day. No.
Can you tell us who participated in the burial? You were not many.
Guys, that place was full of soldiers who came to work that day, normal working hours. The place was full of people.
But you want to tell us that 1BN soldiers participated in those events?
All of us were there with them.
But being there and participating are different, isn't it?
For the burial, I cannot tell who did. I forgot that. I cannot tell. But the time of the killing, they were dragging him. We were there. All people were just observing what was going on.
All right. From there, you left.
Yes, sir.
Where did you go?
We went straight to State House.
And tell us what happened at State House.
When we reached at State House, all the council members left, went up.
Yes.
Yes, we are on the ground.
And what were you, those on the ground, doing?
We were there. They came and served us with drinks.
What kind of drinks?
It's canned drinks.
Alcohol?
No. I don't drink alcohol.
You were celebrating?
Well, when the Ajami came down, some soldiers were celebrating. Yes.
Can you show us how were they celebrating?
They were jumping.
Jubilating?
Jubilating, yes.
That they have just killed their friend, their colleagues, their brothers?
They foiled a coup.
But they just killed their brothers, their colleagues in the army.
Yes, sir.
And they were celebrating. And there was no fighting during which these people were killed.
There was no fighting. The only shooting was at that Fajara barracks, and there was no death. Nobody was dead.
How did you feel when you and your colleagues were jubilating and celebrating the brutal slaughter of your colleagues?
I personally was not celebrating. State House, you have just short fence. I was sitting there, drinking my soft drink. I even spoke to one of our colleagues. I told him, these people, they don't know what they are celebrating. Yeah.
What they are what?
Celebrating for. They are jubilating for.
What happened after that?
After that, we were there until all the council members requested for us to go to individual homes. Then we left with young Boture.
Where did you go?
We went straight to his house, his home, residence.
And what happened after that?
When he reached there, I was there for a couple of minutes. After he called me, he told me, Mendy, you can go home and relax and rest. And that's where I packed up my bag and I went home.
And you left him there alone?
The other the other orderlies are there with
The other what?
the other orderly
Which other oddly?
is Jali Musa, because I supposed to go on the 10th, but there was no possibility for me to go. Then Jali Musa was there with the other security.
Your testimony is that you left Yankuba Ture there with Jalumisa and other securities. That's your testimony.
Securities there. Securities were there.
That's your testimony.
Yes, sir.
What do you say to the suggestion
So,
that in fact you did not go home? You stayed with Yankuba Ture and you returned to Yundum Barracks,
no, sir.
collected soldiers who were arrested, captured and detained, took them to the forest and executed them. What do you say to that?
Never. I have never participated in such. I have never gone there. I went home.
Remember, Mr. Witness, this is a critical moment.
Yes, sir.
This matter is still being investigated.
Yes, sir.
The evidence we've received so far
Yes, sir.
is that you were present in that forest when soldiers were executed. You deny participation.
Never, sir. I have never been there.
You have been warned before.
I know.
When next did you return to work with Yankuba Ture?
It was on a Tuesday.
You were not there on Saturday.
Saturday, I left.
When did you leave?
It was on Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon.
Yes, sir.
That's when you left.
Yes, sir.
What time did you leave?
I left around 3 to 4.
But 3 to 4 on Saturday.
That is,
Young-
that is when we came from State House.
But 3 to 4 on Saturday. The council members were in C4 Forest executing those soldiers who were captured.
Never. I was not there. Never.
Well, the matter is being investigated,
Yes, sir.
and the commissioners would make their finding on the issue.
Yes, sir.
I just can only go by what you say.
Yes, sir.
You say you were not there.
I was not there. I was at home.
You are on the oath.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, but you left Jali Musa Suso with Yankuba Ture as his only orderly that time.
Musa saw
Jali Musa Sow.
with soldiers
All right.
guarding the compound.
Good. So you said you returned to work on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear the announcement that was made by members of the council, members of the junta?
Yes, I was relaxing in my veranda. I have a radio. That announcement was in the evening. I heard it.
What did the announcement say?
The announcement was that there was a coup d'etat that was taking place, but it has been foiled and soldiers died during skirmishing.
Was that announcement true?
It's false. It's not
You
true.
knew at the time also that the announcement was false.
Yes, I told even my friends. I told them these people are lying. It's not true.
In fact, those soldiers were killed by you and others at Fajara Barracks.
Soldiers who died there, they are only 2.
Those 2 were killed by you and your group at Fajara Barracks.
Yes, sir.
And Fafanyang, of course, was killed by Koli and some other person you could not tell.
Yes, sir.
But where was your home at this time?
Who, me? Recover.
Did you just say that you went home at Yundum?
No, I'm not staying in Yundum.
At this
From
time?
Yankuba Toure's compound, I left for Bikau.
Thank you very much. All right. So, after the events of November 11,
Yes, sir.
Did you remain with Yankuba Ture?
I was with him.
In June of 1995 or thereabout, were you still with him?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall where his residence was located at this time?
At those days, he was staying at Kirshring.
Your relationship with him at this time, was it still true that you were serving as his orderly?
Yes, sir.
The same personnel remained?
It's only after that this man came, Jali Musa Sow left, and then Sambaba came in.
This Sambaba, is he the same person as Bach Samba? Okay, this is Sambaba, not Bach Samba Java.
No, sir.
Okay, wonderful. During this period, did you have occasion to learn about an event that took place at Yankuba Toure's house?
It's after then I had.
Did you have occasion to be walking on Yankuba Toure's house when you were asked to do something that was unusual?
Yes, sir.
Kindly tell us about it.
Yes, sir. It was, I couldn't remember the date, but that day, Chairman Jame was to travel to AU Summit, Ethiopia. So automatically there should be a guard of honor. So after taking our lunch, we prepare and then went to State House. The usual procedure that they used to do is to join him with the convoy to the airport. So when we reached at the State House, we were there for almost 1 hour, and then they came down, the council members came down, and then I was there with the driver, waiting for him to come and board our vehicle so that we can join the others to go to the airport. But when he came down, he told me, Mendy, you can go home with the driver. I will join one of my council members.
Was that usual?
Never.
And what happened after that?
Then after that, I went home with the driver. He dropped me there because I was on duty. I was supposed not to go home. Then the driver went home with the vehicle.
What happened after that?
And then at night, Yankuba Ture called me. He said, Mendy, I heard that there is a threat around Senegambe area, BB area and Senegambe area. So I want you to tell the guard commander and you move with him and go on patrol around those areas. Then I went to see the guard commander, who is Couple Ngom. By then he's a Couple Ngom, but presently I think he's the military police commander. I don't know. So
would that be Amat Jangom?
Ngom, yes, sir. So I went, I talked to him, then he agreed, then we left with food.
And how many of you left?
Normally guards, they're supposed to be five plus me. That's 6.
At this stage, where was Yankuba's family?
His family, what I can tell is that upon our return, I don't meet anybody there. There is nobody in the compound.
Do you know where they went?
Later in the day, I know that they went to the wife's compound at Banjul.
That is what you believe?
Yes, sir.
But did Yankuba discuss the issue of his family with you when he ordered you to go on patrol?
Never.
How about the maids?
The maid, Her too, I asked her, I said she was asked to move, and then there's other mates in other nearby compounds. She went there.
When you were leaving the house, do you recall whether there was anybody left in the house?
Yes, that's why I told you. Because when we were leaving, we left before the wife left.
That is what you think?
Yes, sir.
Your testimony is that you left with who? Tell us the persons you left with.
I left with the Corporal Jangom, the guard commander, and plus his men.
And tell us how you left the house and where you went.
We left the house, we walked up to this Palmerima Junction here, then we went through this up to where the vice president was, Asafinjai Sedi, to observe these ships that Yankuba said they are there, there's a threat and so on.
I want you to cast your mind back
Yes, sir.
to this event, because this is very important.
Yes, sir.
How were you dressed when you were going?
During those days, that is a transition. We used to put on uniform. All of us were in uniform.
And how about your weapons?
Yes, you cannot move without a weapon. We went on patrol.
The question is, did you carry your weapon with you?
Yes, sir.
And how about the older soldiers who were with you? Did they carry their weapons with you?
Yes, it's their personal wife. Yes, they have to carry.
And your testimony is that you walked from Yankuba's house to Palmarima
Via the beach side.
via the beach side.
When?
At what point did you enter the beach?
Through Palmerima, at the beach side.
And how many of you?
6 of us.
You said including Corporal Django.
Jangom is the number 5, then I, then 6th person.
Mr. Witness,
Yes, sir.
would it surprise you to note
Yes, sir.
that Corporal Django
Yes, sir.
gave a completely different testimony?
Yeah, that will be a big surprise.
Mr. Jangom said
Yes, sir.
he went with only 2 people, himself and 2 others.
How we went together. I was the one contacting Yankuba Ture while we are on patrol.
How did you contact Yankuba Ture?
I have communication.
What kind of communication?
It's somehow a big one.
I don't understand that. Could you say it again?
I say it's sort of a mobile, but it's big. It's a big one.
Was it a mobile phone or was it not a mobile phone?
They were using, it was a sort of mobile. It's a mobile.
Where did you get that device from?
I got it from Bakarin Jai. I followed him to help me with the mobile. It's analog.
So it was an analog mobile phone?
Yeah, monthly bill.
Monthly bill. And who was paying the bill?
I was paying it.
And how much were you paying?
I told them when it reaches at 400, let them cut it off, then I pay the bill.
Mr. Witness, this was in 1995. You want to tell me that as a private soldier in 1995, you had a mobile phone and you were paying $400 a month?
Yes, sir. It's a Nokia, small Nokia. It's a Nokia one, Nokia.
Was it a small Nokia?
You have small battery. If you use a small battery, it is just like a flat one. And then if you use the big battery, it goes like this.
I know those types of
Yes,
phones. Sir. How much was your salary at this stage as a private soldier?
My salary was almost 1,002 something.
And you were spending $400 on a mobile phone, monthly bills?
During those days, we have the privilege sometimes to travel with the ministers. We travel with them.
So you were paying?
Per diem.
No. That aside, you were paying $400 out of your salary of 1,200 on a mobile phone. That's what you were telling us.
I told them when it reached at 400, but it doesn't exceed that place. That was the estimate I told them to cut it off when it reached there.
Now it's clear. Jangom said he did not go with you.
I went with him.
He said he did not go with you.
He is denying the fact.
Jangom said he went with only 2 people. You are saying you went, it was 6 of you.
How? I was communicating with Yankuba. We want to come because I called him, I told him what the mission you gave us, we didn't see anything there. We want to come back. He said, no, stay there and wait for me, wait for my orders.
Jangom said they did not communicate with Yankuba.
Hey,
They walked from the beach to the house and spoke to somebody in the house, Captain Edward Singate. They did not call Yankuba. They could not call Yankuba because they had no mobile phone.
that is not true. I was mobile. I have my mobile. I called Yankuba because he told me, go there until when I call you. But we were there. The place was too cold. So I decided to call him, telling him that the mission you have sent us, we haven't seen anything, so we are coming back. Then he said, no, stay there and wait for me.
Apart from the cold, what was the weather like that day?
This was windy.
Only windy.
Windy, the sea was rough.
Jangom said it was a rainy day. It was raining. They had to leave.
No. Because that one was not rain. It's just, how would I call it? Whistle, the mountain didn't draw. It was not raining like that, no.
It was drizzling.
Not that type of rain you mean, no.
Mr.
We are not wet. We are not wet.
Mr. Witness,
Yes, sir.
is it just possible that you guys went in separate groups?
That one I cannot remember, but I know we went together.
So in fact, you therefore cannot remember how many of you went together. Because if you cannot recall whether you went in
group. We don't go in group.
If you cannot recall whether these 6 people stayed together throughout, then you obviously cannot tell whether it was 6 people who went.
What I know is that all the guards and I were vacated from the compound.
But you do not now recall who was with you.
Who?
Of the guards was with you.
The one I remember was, you told me, I told you the guard commander is the right person to name those people. Because they change every week it changes.
But the guard commander said they did not go in uniform. They went in mufti.
Where did they get the mufti?
In fact, the guard commander said you lent him a tracksuit which he wore.
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, to my surprise. Let him name those soldiers whom you know we went with, and then the qualification will be there.
Do you know a person called Abdullahi Dabo, Tuluba?
No, the Tuluba I know.
Abdullahi Bojang, sorry, Tuluba.
The Tuluba I know is Lamin Bojang.
Yes, Lamin Bojang Tuluba.
Yes, sir.
When was the last time you saw him?
Where in the army?
Yes.
It's my batch mate. We left together.
And of course, if you were with him in an operation, you would not forget that, would you?
Who lie?
Tuluba Bojang.
Yes. Last time I mentioned I say maybe lie was there, but I was not sure whether lie was there.
This was your batchmate.
Yes, sir.
Really, he belongs to a different unit.
Yes, sir. Different.
You
unit.
guys participated in an operation like that, and you cannot recall?
This was unusual operation.
And that is all the more reason why you should remember who was present.
I remember the guard commander, so I don't want to involve myself in naming somebody whom you know.
Yeah, but even your colleague, the person who is your batchmate, you trained with him, you could not even recall whether he was there.
Yeah.
That's strange, isn't it?
I couldn't remember.
That's strange, isn't it? I'll leave the point.
Yes, sir.
You went back to Yankuba Toure's house that night, did you?
He called us. He called me, telling us to return back.
Did you return?
Yes, sir.
And tell us what happened, what you saw when you returned.
Upon our arrival there, I went inside. The guards,
Inside where?
the corridor. Then the guards.
Could you say that again? I missed that. Inside
corridor,
where?
the corridor?
The
No.
corridor
Yes, sir.
of the house, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And tell us what happened.
And we went through via where the guards are. Where the car park, they use it as their guard room. So you have the gate, the door here, and then you enter. Then when I enter, I saw different things in the house.
Tell us what you saw.
I saw water, mud, all the house was scattered.
You mean messy or you mean scattered?
It's messy. All things were not in order.
So you
Because when
said
I was leaving, the house was not like that.
when you were leaving, how was it?
The house was clean, neat.
Clean and neat. Those
Yes.
were your words.
Yes,
But when you went back this time, it was messy.
it's different.
It was different. What was different?
It was dirty water. You have water, all that there. But I stood for almost 1 minute observing.
And you saw water?
Yes.
How much water?
It's minimal, just ordinary water, muddy place, like wet place.
You saw mud.
Yeah.
Was the house clean at this time or was it unclean?
It's unclean.
What else did you see?
From there, I observed, I saw Yankubature's uniform, that is the green fatigue.
Did you, when was
I
the
saw him himself. He
Yes.
alone was walking.
Yes, we will come to that. You said you saw green fatigues. What does fatigue mean?
That is the green uniform with short hand.
Did you see that green uniform on that day before that time?
I saw it on that day and in the morning again.
How did you see it?
It was well before the sitting room, place in there.
No, what I'm saying is, earlier that day, did you see that green uniform at all?
Yes, sir.
How did you see it?
I saw some bones.
We will come to that.
Okay.
Do you know whether that green uniform had been used that day?
That was the uniform that he was using that day.
What do you mean by that? Explain further.
Council members during the transition period put on uniform. They don't put on civilian clothes.
So tell me about that uniform that day. Was it used? Who used it?
It was Yankuboture who was using that uniform.
When was he using it?
That day, on the 10th. Sorry, I'm misusing the time of that. That the day that we were going for the guard of honor, that was the uniform he was putting on.
So you mean that while you were at State House, what uniform was he wearing?
Green fatigue.
Is it the same green fatigue you saw?
The same green fatigue.
So when you were leaving the house, did
Yes.
you see that same green fatigue lying anywhere in the room?
In the morning?
Yes.
Yes, sir. At the corner.
No, what I mean is, that day, before,
Before
you
going to
were
State House.
ordered to go, did you see those green fatigues in the house?
In order to go to...
Patrol.
No. He was not in.
So you suggesting he was wearing those green fatigues? That's what he wore when he went to the airport.
That was the uniform he was using.
So when you came back to the house, you see water and mud in the house. The house was messy
Yes, sir.
and was different from the way it was when you left.
Yes, sir.
And that was the time you saw the green fatigues.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what you saw, what that is remarkable about that green fatigues?
I saw two burn places there. Burn, yeah, it's 2 dots.
Explain that. Two what?
something that were burned by fire. I don't know fire. It's 2 dots here.
So
Two marks.
you saw 2 burnt marks on the uniform.
Yes, sir.
At which, stand up and show us which part of the uniform.
It's just here.
Were these burns there before that day?
Never, never. A minister will, a secretary of state will never put on such a uniform.
What else did you see on the uniform?
That is what I
What
saw.
was the condition of the uniform apart from the burnt marks?
The uniform was dirty,
And what else?
wet, somehow muddy, wet.
Wet. Was that normal?
Never.
When you saw the condition in the house and you saw the uniform, did you think that was okay?
The moment I enter, I just step in. Then I saw different things. So I said, "Oh, something must be wrong." Yeah.
Did you see Yankuba?
Yes, he was coming from the city room, going towards his room.
And what was he doing?
He was with short. I don't know whether we call it tight. This tight with small, entering his room.
Tell us what you observed about him when you saw him. What was he doing?
What I observed about him, that he was somehow in a different mood. Different mood.
Like what?
Well, he's just like somebody who is in a worry state. He's not comfortable.
He looked worried.
Yes, sir.
And was he stationary when you saw him or not?
No.
Tell us what he was doing. Show us.
The moment when he heard us coming in, he was just coming from the sitting room, going towards his room. But he never talked to me. He went in, then I went some steps, went up to where those uniforms are. I stood there 1 minute. Then it was too late. Then I opened my door and then went inside.
Thank you, Hareja. When you saw him that instant he entered the room, did he walk back out or not?
That one I could not tell because I returned back, then opened my room, then sleep because I was dizzy, feeling sleepy.
When you saw his condition, you said he looked worried. When you looked at the house, it was messy.
Yes, sir.
You saw his uniform. It has burnt marks. It had mud. It was wet. What came to your mind?
What came to my mind, I suspected that something must have happened here, but I cannot tell at the moment. I don't know. Then my mind went that why are we sent out from the compound? Yeah, I said maybe there's something that happened.
You became suspicious.
Yes, sir.
That something must have happened.
Yes, sir.
In that house.
Yes, sir.
What happened the next day?
The next day we left. Normally we used to wake up very early. I take bath, he take bath, and then we went to office. So when we reached the office, then we heard that Korosise has been murdered.
Who was Korosise?
He was the Minister of Finance. I know.
How did you feel, or what did you think when you heard that information?
When I heard that information, my mind went back.
To what?
To his compound that night. My mind went back. What happened there?
Why did your mind have to go back to what happened there?
Well, through my observance and to my intelligence, because they said the car was burnt.
I didn't get that.
They said the car was burnt.
Yes.
Yes. And there is a burnt in his uniform. I started thinking, I was using my intelligence also to think that there is a foul play.
Foul play by who?
Well, I could say it's Pt3 because it is his compound. So I don't know how he managed to allow such to happen in the house, if at all he is not among.
You suspected
Yes, sir.
that Yankuba Toure participated in the murder of Usman Korosise.
Yes, sir, because it is compound. If that's how happened to be there, happened to that place, who allow it to happen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. It's after 4 p.m. I would want to leave it at that, and commissioners may ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you, Mr. Mendy, for your testimony. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Suppose. Commissioner Kinte, you have the floor, please.
Hello, Mendy, this is Commissioner Kinde. I remember you said Basiru Barrow was captured at Yundum.
Yes, sir.
And locked up in the cell.
Yes, sir.
Later, Dotfal was captured.
Yes, sir.
But you didn't know what happened to Dotfal at the time.
Like,
you said you did not know what happened to him because you said you did not know whether he was also locked up.
no, I did not say that.
Okay.
He said Basiru Barrow was locked up. He does not know what happened to Dotfal.
Exactly.
He knows he was beaten.
Yeah, that's what yes.
You, Mr. Commissioner, in fairness to the witness, you put it in the reverse.
Okay.
He knows what happened to Basiru Barrow. He was beaten and locked up. With regards to Dotfal, he knows he was beaten, but he doesn't know whether he was locked up. That was the testimony, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And later you said it was after that you went to Fajara Barracks?
Yes, sir.
And then you shot at a group of soldiers. 2 of them fell down and the rest escaped.
Yes, sir.
Up to now, you could not tell who were those 2 soldiers.
Those who fell down?
Yes, at the barracks.
No, sir. I don't.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Imam Jallo?
Yes. On your way to Yundum,
Yes, sir.
you said you saw a soldier running towards you.
Yes, sir.
You stopped him. What happened to him?
It's Sana Sawal who stopped him. They were questioning him, but at that moment I was not close to them. But what I know is that soldier they left him and he went. I think they were just seeking information on what is going on in the barracks there.
Thank you very much. If there are no further questions, do you have any closing remarks to make, Mr. Mendy?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sir.
I defer to the chair. Perhaps it's not every witness who should be granted that courtesy. There is every likelihood that this witness may come back. But I leave it in your capable hands, Mr. Chair.
No, with that guidance, indeed, which I wasn't aware of, I think it's best that hold your closing remarks for the moment. When we come back and the right moment, we would give you the floor to do that.
All right.
Much obliged, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Mr. Mendy, for coming. Before we close, just to remind you that today is the last day of the 3rd session of these public hearings. We will resume public hearings on the 8th of April. And in the meantime, there are lots of internal things that the Commission deals with and visits that we would undertake as well. So we will see you all on the 8th of April, Monday, 10 o'clock sharp. That would be the beginning of the 4th session. You will recall that the first session was convened from the 7th to the 31st of January, the second session from the 11th to the 28th of February, and the third that we are ending today started on the 11th of March and is ending today. So the fourth one we would start on the 8th of April, going on until the 25th of April. If there are no further points to be made, we will close the session and close the meeting. And thank you all very much indeed. Meeting is adjourned.